What's up, football fans? How you guys doing?
Good, John. How are you?
How's it going, guys?
Good job.
Good.
Pete.
How you doing? Yeah, so Dave, you want me to just
Yeah, go for it.
just real excited, obviously, with Jordan. We took the best player on the board. Actually had a trade set up a little bit to go back a little bit. I can't tell you where, but fell through at the very last minute, and bang, and he was still there, and so it worked out great. Really excited to add a real tough, great person. You know, Jordan's the youngest at 7. He's got a twin sister. He's been through a lot. He's overcome a lot. He's got a ton of grit. He's our kind of guy. Can fly 233 pounds and ran 4.46, and you know, just a great kid. He had a great formal interview at the combine, and he's just a real passionate kid. Football's the deal for this guy. Started out in Houston or in Dallas, moved to Houston. Was homeless for a while there, and he's just got that grit that we always talk about, and that edge, that chip on the shoulder, and we're excited to get him in the program. You know, with his junior year, he played kind of out in space a little bit, kind of as like a little bit of a rover in the Big 12, and then last year he played inside, and went through a new staff. The Utah staff came down there and really adjusted and did a great job with the strength coach. Did a great job working with him, and he bought in, and he really ripped it up this year and had a great he did a great job after the season getting ready for throughout the season, and then in the off season, what he did at the combine was phenomenal. And a lot of guys with a lot of conviction on the guy. Josh Graff and Matt Barry, the two guys that went into the school, had a ton of conviction on him.
Coach Carroll?
Yeah, we just found a guy that really could check all the boxes. We love his attitude. Like John said, it's just his mentality, just really on it. His versatility, he's played, like John said, he played first couple of years. And his playing time was outside, more in space. This last year, they changed schemes and put him really in a position where he was, a lot of the time, he was responsible for the quarterback and would chase the quarterback and spy him. And so he was up in the line of scrimmage and pressuring. So we've seen him do a variety of things that give him the scope of ability that he can play inside or outside for us. We've got good players, inside that we love. We love Bobby and KJ and what they've done, and we're going to give this guy a chance to see where he can fit in. He'll be. We'll work the competition so that we can uncover exactly what's best, and really think that he's got a chance to be fighting for playing time right away. Cody Barton did a great job for us last year, so it'll be a very competitive situation, just like we like. Jordan is all about competition. He's got a great head on his shoulders. I really like that he has a lot of respect for Bobby and KJ. He knows of them, and he's followed them, and he's looked up to those guys. Bobby, the first call I got was from Bobby. He wanted to have his text information so he can get to him right away, and just right. So we always need to get faster and get tougher on defense, no matter what spot we're talking about. And Jordan will fit that perfectly, and we're really excited to add him to our defense.
Bob Condotta.
Sorry, Bob, that's all the time you get. Next.
I think you went to bed, Pete.
Oh, sorry, I did what you did. I forgot to hit the mute thing. He said he talked to you at the combine, and you mentioned his formal interview. What stood out to you guys about him there with his meeting there?
He's really clear communicator, strong attitude. Really set us in a comfortable place, knowing that he's going to be a tough guy coming in to prove it. Not this big flowery big time guy. He was hard nosed, work ethic kind of mentality that we really we accepted right off the bat. So came across great.
Greg Bell.
Guys, the inside outside linebacker mix, was that what attracted him, of the speed and the experience of doing both?
Yeah, it was a combination of those things, absolutely. In the fact that he was able to transition so quickly, with Matt Wells' staff this year at from the Utah State group, the guys that went down to Texas Tech, and when you're watching that conference, there's a lot of speed on the field, there's a lot of area to cover, and this shows up all the time.
And
Tim Booth.
John,
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry,
Greg.
Dave. Sorry, Dave. John, you mentioned the trade and the following through. Was the communications and everything different this year? Was that a factor at all in how that went down?
No, we had a practice session with 4 teams, and so we felt like we were really prepared, and it was really, honestly, the hardest part of it is just, which sounds silly, but it is just trying to remember to hit mute on different screens so you're not getting all the feedback.
What was Tracy's role?
Well, if I screwed something up, she was helping me out, but usually, what Sarah, my assistant Sarah, does, and Kirk Parrish, and that's getting the guys on the phone. You got to make sure you get them on the phone, and just making sure that they're alive. You don't want to send a pick in if you can't get a hold of the player, basically.
Yeah,
that's her.
That's the problem.
That was her role. I'm glad you have lights on at your house. I don't know where is Art. I think Art must be in his pajamas. There you go. Hey, Art.
Pete,
Tim Booth.
John mentioned the stint that Jordan was homeless. What did he tell you about that, and what impact it had on his life?
We talked about being really hard. It was a hardship, and it was something that was most memorable to him. That they had to get through it and find a way. And he came across like they were able to handle it. They stuck together as a family. They figured it out and made it through it. And I think they were stronger for it. It really seemed like he has learned lessons along the way that has made him the kind of person that he is, and that was part of his experience that was impacting.
His mom is the real rock. This lady's must be an incredible. I've never met her. She must be very incredible. Reminded me a lot of the story with Donald Driver, who we were in Green Bay with.
I did get a chance to visit with her, and she was very excited, but also very strong. She came across real strong and promised me that he would bring his best and give the program everything he had and all that kind of stuff. It was really an excellent phone call.
Thank you,
Tim.
Hey guys, the fact that he played in 2 different systems in college, was there one of those that seemed to highlight his skills more than the other?
I think they tried to highlight him in this past regime, in that they put him in the middle of the defense. He really had a chance to really flow and run to the football. They gave him responsibility to spy the quarterback, as I said, and so they entrusted in him to be the playmaker, kind of cover up for everybody. So there were the scheme gave him a lot of freedom to play football, and I thought he dwelled well in that. But the fact that he's been outside and been in the edge and all that's really helpful to us for his versatility. So I think they made a statement that they wanted him to try to make all the tackles, and he put him in a position to do that.
And he was, guy was involved with 20% of the plays. I mean, the tackle. I mean, the guy's his production's off the charts. But I think that staff obviously looked at him in a very similar manner that they did to Bobby. So. It was incredibly helpful to be able to help evaluate that.
Can he play Sam in more immediately than, obviously he's not going to come in and play Mike right away?
He could play outside. We played Michael Kendricks at that spot last year. He has a lot of similar traits. Behind the line of scrimmage is exciting to see the guy that runs that fast and comes downhill at you. So it's a really good situation. We're really not worried about it at all. We love the versatility in our players. KJ played inside and outside. You saw Barton play inside and outside. Bobby has been really the fixture inside. Everybody's got flexibility, and this is just going to be something really fun to figure out.
Thank you.
Corbin.
Hi, John. You mentioned having a trade set up potentially there at 27. How surprised were you, given the fact it seemed like this first round was really chalk for the most part?
Yeah.
And there wasn't very much activity. How surprised were you there weren't a lot of trades? And then the Packers, your former employer, leapfrogging you to pick Jordan Love, kind of reminiscent of the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers situation.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I thought that more people would do things. Jason Light in Tampa Bay, and San Fran with John and Lynch and those guys. They were the first ones to trade, and then I think there was only 3 of them, if I'm correct. But I was surprised, and it felt like things just kept coming off, and but we were ready. We were prepared. Our guys, Scott Fitter and Matt Thomas, who turns in the trades, and Matt Berry, who turns in the name. And, I was speaking with Brian Gutekunst too. So he was cool. He was like, "Hey, sorry, man, we got a better deal." And all of a sudden they were on the clock. It happens. So
Thank you.
Curtis.
Hey, John, I was just kind of curious, how primary did you see the need at linebacker being, with Bruce and Bobby and KJ all being in the league since 2012 at this point, and planning for the future maybe to some extent there? And then how does he Jordan immediately kind of fit into your outlook and where you kind of see him for this season?
Well, I think just in general terms, our philosophy was trying to get players that in the environment that we're in that can come in and act like pros right away. And this is one of them. This is one of the guys that we had, obviously, or we wouldn't have taken him. But he can. There's no doubt in my mind this guy's going to come in ready to go. And again, we had buy-in from. It was very cool. We had buy-in from everybody. Defensive coordinator loved him, Kenny Norton, and so I think the where you play him and all that. I think just in general, when you look at our division, team speed, we'll figure it out. That's not necessarily for today. The guy can fly, and he's a run and hit guy. He's actually a really good rusher from the A gap inside stuff with the A gap too, and he's just a very disruptive football player.
I'll add to that so you guys can understand that our guys, Bobby plays in the middle, but the 2 other sides, Will and Sam Becker, if you watch our film last year, they're inside and outside, coming off the edge, playing behind line of scrimmage. They really have to do all of it. So that's a great attraction for this kid for us. He'll definitely fit in. We're not even worried about it at all. It's just to situate the guys. It's really important for us to make good decisions with the young guys, particularly possibly in a shortened off season and an abbreviated preparation period, that we put him in the right spot. We don't overdo it. Don't give him too much to do so that he can play fast and play aggressive like he has shown in the past. So that's the main thing for us to uncover as we get to him, make sure that we're doing the right stuff with him and position him so that he can excel early. And then he'll be able to show us how far he can take it. So this is, like I said, it's just no problem at all. There's a Will and a Sam Becker in the system playing around Bobby, and KJ has great flexibility as well. So we'll work it out to make sure that we're maximizing and the opportunity for these guys to compete.
Thanks, guys.
Joe Fan.
Former intern.
Back in the day, 2012, baby. Just curious, John and Pete, how much of the secrecy and the gamesmanship is involved with a pick like this, where you feel like you've done your homework at the combine, you check the personal boxes, so you say, okay, this guy's a fit. let's not have those points of communication from here on out, to where he said he was surprised to be picked by you guys. And I'm guessing that's kind of how you want it, to where the mock drafts don't have it. He's not expecting it. And then all of a sudden the Seahawks pick Jordan Brooks, and it's this huge surprise. But to you guys, I imagine that's probably how you would want things in an ideal world, correct?
Right. Well, I think I think we've said this over the years. Once you get past, call it 15 to 16, 18, right in there, the mock draft stuff kind of, no disrespect. I mean, it's entertainment. I get it. I love it. I couldn't wait for Paul Zimmerman's thing to come out in SI all the time at this time of the year. But it gets to a point where you rely on your pro scouting staff, especially, so like Nolan Teasley and Willie and DJ and those guys, to say, hey, this is what the team needs are. This is what, if I was running this team, this is what I would want to add. And so that's really how you try to project where people are going to go. And when people aren't talking about players, yeah, that's when you get pretty nervous. And Jordan was clearly one of those players. And we were just, I at the combine, I totally stayed away from him. I didn't talk to him at the combine. I just evaluated all the different interviews. Senior Bowl was great. Our guys spent a ton of time with him, and everybody came away from that very impressed.
One thing I add to that, just to try to help you guys, that I think that the work that was done in free agency to pick players and put them where they fit into us allows us to be in this draft and take guys that bring us maybe the highest end opportunity, because we're not stuck on having to take a player at one particular position or to fit into a little shoebox. So we're in this draft to try to take guys that can impact us because they're special players and not necessarily just to fill a need and try to hit a need. So we're wide open. I think we were really excited about the way this was coming down. It really fell into place. The whole board was wiped off just the way John's guys had figured it. And so it just kind of fit and funneled just right. So hopefully we can do the same thing in the second rounds and onward.
John, sorry, just to clarify, so you weren't in the official meeting with him in Indianapolis, and again, I'm guessing that's by design, some gamesmanship on your end to stay away from him?
No, I just had other meetings, that National Football League meetings that I had to attend.
I thought there was some gamesmanship in there too, John. You could have taken that.
Yeah. No, my bad. Totally planned it that way.
Come on, Joe. That's a good job, Joe.
John Boyle.
Yeah, we always hear Bobby Wagner talk about consistency. This is a guy that you brought in who's 4-year all-conference guy, led his team tackles almost every year. Just what's that tell you about a player when his college career is that good over a 4-year span?
It's football's. This is what he's all about. And you can see he's going to be like KJ and Cody and Bobby, the way he's going to approach the game, because it's really what he's got. It's his passion. He's bound and determined to make it. I don't mean to be leaving anybody else out. The really good linebackers we have here, but but those guys obviously kind of stand out.
I think that consistency really is speaking to the makeup of the kid. His staying power. They recognized it early in him. He was able to maintain it and hold it up and perform and produce over a long period. It's a really good characteristic for some performer, and so it just gives us so much confidence in picking a kid. It was really a strong pick by us in that regard.
Art.
Wait, Art, let me turn all my lights off here for it.
Looks like X-Files, Art.
How's that? Yeah.
Hey,
Smoker man.
I'm in a warehouse in a secret location, and it's full of toilet paper, so I don't want to disclose where I am.
okay.
A lot of the published scouting reports talked about Brooks's leadership. How did that manifest to you guys in your interviews?
Well, I was in the interview at the combine, and this guy blew us away there. He was awesome, confident, clear, had a plan, knew how to express to us what was important to him. He was clear about all of that. He just really was on point. So I think, his confidence, because he's performed young and sophomore and then junior and all the way throughout, and recognized as a leader throughout all of that time, that's just bolsters the heck out of a kid. And he handled it really well. And so it just came across. He's looking you in the eye. He's talking straight to you. He's telling you where he's coming from. He was working it, to come and put his best foot forward in the meeting with us, and he kicked ass, so it's really, really well done.
Masvida.
Staying on that kind of the character of a Jordan, his humility and humbleness. He talked about ability, wanting to learn. He talked about he didn't want to really look at film a lot. And then him and his coach, he got into looking at films 3 days a week, and then he really got into studying film. And what does that say about him, his humility and ability and wanting to learn and be better in this league?
Well, I think you answered it yourself. I mean, it's just extremely important to. I apologize. My dog is just bolting back and forth here, almost like knocked over all the cameras and everything. I apologize. But I think you really answered it. The dedication that he has is, again, he's when Cody Barton came in last year, he had a plan for every single day, lined up the way it was going to go. And I think this guy's going to be very much the same.
Had one question. It seems like he's athletic, he's physical, but his ball recognition, is that something that you guys were really able to see? Because he's athletic, but he seems to be able to zero in on that ball and make a play. And how important is that? Yeah,
downhill, sideline to sideline. I already sent Louis Riddick a text. I was like, really? He struggles in coverage? No, yeah. I used to work with Louis Riddick. That's why I said it. But no, he's got great ball skills, and he can react. He reacts very quickly. He's got great feet. I think the thing he would tell you is that he needs to bring his feet on contact a little bit more. And you talked about that in the formal interview as well.
Brady Henderson.
John and Pete, I'm wondering what along the way, what did you learn about Jordan to give you the sense that he's a guy who would be able to come in and pick things up right away, which I would imagine is a priority more so this year than ever?
It is a priority, and John, guys have really taken to that thought, again, under the new circumstances and all that. But it really, I would go back to just the overall package that he presents: his sincerity, his work ethic, his consistency, his clarity in his commitment, and what this game means to him, how he has put together a mentality kind of that comes from his upbringing and the tough times and the challenges, and a great leader, and from his mom that gave him great direction. All of those things came through and come through, and as you can hear, we can't say enough good stuff about who this kid is and what he's all about. So we're so excited to add a guy like that to our club, because our guys look for players that will demonstrate that it really matters to them. That's what they're really looking for, and how they demonstrate that by their hard work and their effort, their sincerity, and all of that. This kid our guys are going to just embrace him immediately. Because he just comes from the right stuff. He's going to be humble, and he's going to be very respectful too. And that's also just adds to the attributes, of a young kid coming in. He'll be very respectful, and our guys will feel that, and he'll work to prove it. So everything about him, this is just a guy that there's just no holes in. And so really, we can't say enough positive stuff about him in that regard.
And final question, Curtis Crabtree.
John, quick follow-up. I know Matt Wells, the head coach at Tech, was at Utah State when Bobby was there. How much insight was he able to give you to compare the two, or the backgrounds of them, or anything like that you might have learned from scouting Bobby back in the day compared over to this as well?
Sure. Matt Berry, our college scouting director, has a really good relationship with Matt. Matt's always great for scouts when you go into a school. Having been to Utah State when he was there, come and sit down with you and be very open with you. And he's going to do a lot of great things at Texas Tech. And So yeah, our both Josh Graff and Matt Berry, the guys that went in there. See, what you have to understand is when you go to a school, the thing that I always harp on with the guys is kind of like, well, what did you feel like when you left the school? Like, where were you at? Because it's such a long process that we go through, and they both of them had so much conviction about the person, and great player, yes, but is he going to be able to overcome adversity and do the things that we admire in the players that we've drafted in the past? Doug wasn't drafted. Sorry, Doug. You get pissed if I said it. But guys like that, just guys that we've drafted in the past that have overcome a lot of adversity and have that grit mentality.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, I was just curious if Danny O'Neill was the only guy that I thought got close, taking advantage of the clues we were giving about our first pick. And I was just curious if anybody else had a real hunch that it was going to be, our guy here. Did you? Danny just about nailed it. And did any other guys pick up on those clues? I'll let the Zoolander.
I don't think Art could see it, Pete.
Actually, Pete, I have a life, so.
Oh, that was unkind.
What did you say? Now, Danny just was hanging on every clip,
Heck yeah, it was. I don't got anything else to do.
Yeah, that speaks for Danny, I think.
Okay, there you go. I like it. Good. Take some shots. I like it.
I'd like to get a scattering report on John's dog. Like, how would the 3-cone drill look?
Yeah,
evasiveness?
No, I was holding on to everything here, man. He was darting around, Danny. It was crazy. I have no idea what you said, Pete. I apologize.
I thought John's dog jumped into Dave's tile. He was kissing a dog.
Dave doesn't have a dog.
Yep, that's Lily.
He does.
Oh, there it is. Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, are we done now?
That brings it to an end.
2 and 3.
Thank you, everybody.
Later.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
See you.